With Huawei's electric architecture, the support from a certain Momenta, a HarmonyOS cockpit, and Xiaomi's ecosystem interface, the composition of this car is still a bit too complex. Today, we're going to briefly experience this pure electric sedan from Toyota that is scheduled to go on sale in the first quarter of next year, taking a look at what kind of car it roughly is. Turn the volume up a bit at night. The sound is loud. The car length is 5,130 millimeters, with a wheelbase of 3.02 meters. In terms of size, it's in the same class as the Xpeng P7 family, or the BYD Han L, both mid to large sedans, but it's slightly bigger than both of them. In terms of basic hardware, the car shown in the video uses a 207 kilowatt rear-mounted single motor and an 80 kilowatt-hour battery, with a CLTC cruising range of 680 kilometers. Crawling down to take a look at the chassis, the front suspension is a double wishbone setup, although the upper control arm is made of steel, with air springs in the middle, while the rear suspension uses a relatively large amount of aluminum alloy. After driving it briefly in a loop to get a feel, I'll give my conclusion first. The chassis quality of this car is impressive, but the power performance is still relatively conservative. In terms of the chassis, for example, when going over a speed bump now, the impact transmitted into the cabin is somewhat softened, and at the same time, the body doesn't have any extra swaying. When dealing with small seams, undulations, and minor bumps on the road surface, the subjective feeling from inside the car even gives a sense that the wheels are moving up and down to absorb vibrations, while the body remains very stable. Of course, the actual performance may not be as idealized as described, but subjectively, there really is that kind of absorption feel. So overall, the chassis is neither stiff nor floaty, and the thick, steady, yet slightly supple feeling is the most impressive aspect of this car. I speculate that the chassis tuning is still mainly led by Toyota, but the power performance is indeed too conservative. Even though this is an electric car, it's still not fast, just like Toyota in the internal combustion era. At low and medium speeds during normal driving, it's fine. After all, the motor is very responsive, but once the speed exceeds 60 or 70 and you floor the accelerator again, you can clearly feel that the acceleration in the later stage becomes very gentle. An electric car that actually feels not fast to drive is indeed very much in line with Toyota's tradition. In reality, with a curb weight close to 2.3 tons and a 207 kilowatt motor, the power-to-weight ratio really isn't high. Next, let's take a simple walk around the car to look at the exterior and interior details. The C-shaped daytime running lights paired with a full-width light strip give the front end a bit of a family design style. Under the hood, there's a small front trunk, although the way it opens is still very traditional, using a mechanical pull handle. On the side, this display car uses 21-inch wheels, though it's unclear whether they are optional. The exterior mirrors are also of this frameless integrated adjustment type. The semi-hidden door handles are an electronic plus mechanical combination. The interior door handle is pressed to unlock electronically, and pulling outward is mechanical unlocking. The frameless doors use double-layer laminated glass for both the front and rear rows, with a large 6-window style profile. Unfortunately, the tailgate does not open in a hatchback style. The overall rear and tail design, including the opening form of the tailgate, actually resembles the style of the Crown sedan. After opening the tailgate, the opening is relatively vertical, so luggage is more like being pushed in rather than placed down. According to what's known, the approximate price of this car is also expected to be around the 200,000 yuan level. At this price point, the competition among mid to large sedans can be said to be extremely fierce, with not only new forces and traditional automakers, but also, if you look at second-hand cars on Dongchedi, at around 200,000 to 250,000 yuan, you can buy many well-maintained used BMW i5 or Mercedes EQE models. Next, let's get into the car to take a look at the interior. In addition, Dongchedi's large second-hand car platform lets you buy with confidence, with big promotions where buying a car gets everyone a 10,000 yuan subsidy, weekly giveaways of a 980,000 yuan Tesla, and even selling a car gets subsidies, with an extra 20 yuan added directly for selling. The interior of the entire cabin uses a lot of materials like Nappa leather combined with solid wood, and there is also very rich ambient lighting in the details. However, its overall styling, especially the steering wheel, still feels more on the mature side, not youthful at all. The driver's seat also cannot be adjusted to a very low seating position, which is an issue that also exists in joint venture pure electric cars, and is honestly a bit of a pity. In my impression, pure electric sedans whose driver's seat can be lowered very low and sit close to the ground seem to include only the BMW i3, i4, and i5 at the moment. The center console uses a HarmonyOS infotainment system, which I don't want to elaborate on too much here, as it's almost identical in responsiveness, smoothness, and app availability to those on models like Avita or the Tiana, with phone mirroring and so on being no problem. The voice assistant is still called Xiaomi, and the front passenger seat uses a zero-gravity seat. Moving to the rear row to try it out, with a 3.02-meter wheelbase, the legroom is indeed extremely spacious. For someone with a height of 160 centimeters, an average build, after adjusting the front seat properly, there's no problem at all sitting in the back with legs crossed. On the left, there's a reserved Xiaomi ecosystem interface. On the right is a small table. The seat cushion is also very wide, and the backrest angle supports large adjustments. Above is a segmented panoramic roof, with sunshades for both the front and rear. The center armrest is particularly wide and also integrates wireless charging and 2 cup holders. So overall, this car has relatively conservative positive acceleration, but its chassis quality exceeds expectations. The HarmonyOS infotainment and Momenta's intelligent driving assistance coming on board can also be considered as making up for shortcomings, but the overall exterior and interior styling is still on the mature side and not particularly youthful, and the rest will depend on the final pricing when it officially launches.